Hey everybody, it's John. I'm back with Philomena Cunk moments, part 3, I guess. Um, Again, the link will be down below if you want to see the full video without my interruptions. But yeah, I'm an American, and I'm definitely gonna react to what she has to say. She has been hilarious, and you guys really seem to enjoy it, so I'll keep going with it. By the way, I'm going to be going out for surgery tomorrow, so I have a couple of other videos in between I've uploaded. But let's get started on this, and don't forget to comment, subscribe, like it, share it out. I really appreciate you guys watching it. Okay.
Good afternoon. What are you? King Arthur came a lot, didn't he?
I think you mean that he's associated with the court of Camelot.
No, it definitely says King Arthur came a lot.
Oh my god, I did hear that right.
Camelot.
Yeah.
It scenes like this.
Fantastic. I'm sorry.
Were considered shocking, even in Shakespeare's day, which is quite an achievement considering people used to shit out of their own windows back then.
It's true. So back in I would say probably before around the turn of the century, before you saw automobiles all over the roads, there were horses. So you saw a lot of horse manure. And then along the sides, you would see these sort of the gutters, and people would take their chamber pot, because you do your business in this pot called the chamber pot. At least here in the United States, we call it, or in America, we call it a chamber pot. And then you'd open a window and dump it. And as a matter of fact, there are many funny things in history that here in the United States we've done with chamber pots, put people's pictures in them and things like that. And I'm sure that's not unique to the United States, although I don't have the information otherwise. You do, but it changed certainly with the advent of the automobile and indoor plumbing, when that became more of a thing. So all right.
Incredibly, even today people actually got to see this sort of thing, despite it being completely fucking unwatchable.
He's right.
My mate Paul, he did this.
I'm sorry, but if you haven't watched this, but she's got this running thing about her friend Paul. It's hilarious. I cannot wait to hear the story. I don't know what it is, but she refers to Paul. That's her friend, my mate Paul, and then she has like an ex, named Sean, I think, but maybe it'll come up in here. I don't know.
Party trick that he always does with the red nose.
The red.
He put it sort of on his intimate skin, and it sort of tore it, and it went septic. Actually, I think that might mean he qualifies for some sort of charity money.
That is the first and most disgusting thing I've heard done with a red nose.
By the way, that was a great response, and kudos to these guys who are in the know, who guys and girls, but we say guys here from the Pennsylvania area, for everybody, but they have some of the greatest comebacks, no pun intended.
You sound like an expert. What's your background?
My background is in developing and evaluating vaccines, but I also work in the infectious diseases of children, so have learnt a bit about viruses that affect children over the last 25 years.
No, I meant what's your background? What is that, your office or your living room? Do you just learn the famous bits, like to be or not to be, or do you learn all the bits in between as well?
I have to learn all the bits in between.
Are you fucking joking?
No. It's big, but it takes a bit of time.
Shut up. Have you thought about just selling celebrities, for their organs? Because I'm sure someone would pay a fortune for, like, John Bishop's kidneys.
No, we haven't thought of that.
Or this decorative pervert. Before Snapchat, Hills were the most efficient way to distribute dick pics to a wide audience.
That's excellent. I can't remember if it's in Ireland or Scotland where they have those. They're proportionate, by the way. And yeah, there are a bunch of those in the Americas. Believe it or not, well, yeah, there are humans. We have something called the Nazca line. So I know that people watching this you're predominantly English, but we have lines like that, drawings like that that you can see from the air quite well. I was in Peru, as a matter of fact. I just didn't have time to see the Nazca lines. It's basically it's a more stick figure kind of thing, but I will say the ones in the UK they're a little more lifelike.
How long would you get off work if you got the Black Death?
In about 70% of cases, you'd be off work forever.
Oh, right. Result?
Because you'd be dead.
Okay, so that was, I guess, about the Black Death, bubonic plague. It is the I guess it was the fleas on the backs, or yeah, on the backs or within the skin, within the fur of the rats, and they came across from it's like the Mongolian region, if I'm not mistaken, and it went very quickly. It spread within, gosh, 5 years. It was all over England, maybe even 3, I think. England, all over Europe. It was actually one of the I've seen this written. I kind of believe it, or no, I've heard this actually. I should say. I was watching a video on it a while back, and it was about had to do with cleanliness and things like that. Don't ask why I was watching about that, but they cited the bubonic plague as being more in tune with tidying up your home, because in that case you would have less risk towards viruses, towards bacteria and things like that. And that was sort of the beginnings of or the maybe a triggering event, I guess, of keeping things a little more clean and straightened up. But if you look at it today, where it's a constant thing when it comes to rodents and people living side by side. In one of the cities here, I have a couple of apartment buildings, and it's a constant fight of trying to keep the mice or the rats out. And being in an urban environment, they're there. They are there, and it's just, they're disgusting. They really are. I mean, you talk about people are like, oh, I have a mouse. That's fine if you have a domestic mouse in a cage. But these, you don't know where they've been. And it's really important to keep things clean, keep them out of there, and that kind of stuff. So I deal with that a lot.
As this actual footage shows, the main ones were the across ones who ate grass, and the up and down ones who ate the across ones. Stone Age man used stones to make basic weapons and tools, like these hand axes. As well as boring, these are also shit by today's standards, but back then they were cutting edge, because they had a cutting edge. The Big Bang created the universe in one mad explosion that was probably deafening, although luckily ears didn't exist yet. Just imagine something like this orange, and then imagine it's not there. Then do that one by one with everything that exists until there's nothing at all. That's what Britain was like until the Big Bang. But this Iron Man didn't have superpowers like the Iron Man in films. He couldn't fly or tolerate Gwyneth Paltrow. So instead, he had to go to lengthy measures to defend himself. At this time, Pangaea was full of dinosaur, a race of Godzilla monsters so scary, normal human beings didn't dare exist until they'd all gone.
Okay. First of all, the Gwyneth Paltrow thing, that was good. That was great comedy. Second of all, Pangaea was the mega continent, if I'm not mistaken. It was it was where all the continents came from. They started sort of drifting multiple times back and forth, as a matter of fact, until we get to where we are today. And that was Pangea. It was the original large continent. And you can look it up. You can see pictures of it. It's an interesting looking thing.
Before roads was invented, you had to travel around by standing at the edge of your village and seeing how far you could jump.
As you can see, Harold won when he triumphantly caught an arrow in his eye. Sadly, it wasn't enough, and he died soon after. No one knows why.
Peasants lived in thatched wooden huts.
Sorry about that. So Harold, he was a general, a ruler and a general. It was the Battle of Hastings, I think, 1066. I think 1066, and I think he was killed there by William the Conqueror, but I'm not 100%. Yeah, by William the Conqueror. Guys, let me know if I'm right on this, because I have to dust this off when I'm in humor mode. I guess I'm getting older.
It's full of chicken shit. The water was filthy, so everyone drank beer.
It's
and
true.
The only thing to eat was bread. It was a particularly challenging time for the gluten intolerant.
So people did drink beer more than water, mostly because you didn't get sick from drinking beer or wine, because you were fermenting these things. Today we drink water. There are water fountains. There's bottled water. There's tap water. Then if you're in the UK, you guys have water with sort of like fizzy water, like with what's it called in it? Bubbles in it, like a seltzer in it. When it came to beer or wine, they fermented the water, because you just never know when you're going to get bad water or something like that. Something upstream has a bacteria in it. It dies, an animal dies, it goes downstream, and it's just a not a good thing. As a matter of fact, I think it was either the Puritans or maybe it wasn't the Puritans. Maybe it was the settlers for Jamestown in the United States. When they left Europe, they left with full kegs of beer, and they ended up landing where they landed and settling because they ran out of beer and they needed to make more beer. It's a true story. So some cities on the eastern seaboard of the United States are there because a lot of times, well, not a lot of times, because in certain circumstances, they just did not bring enough alcohol with them. And the fact is that, if they didn't have that, they were afraid to drink the water, in a lot of cases.
Tyrannical Sawdust Rex is the only real dinosaur left in the world, which is probably why it's so angry, spending literally every waking moment of its life roaring helplessly at passing tourists.
Willis's execution kicked off a golden age of public entertainment.
Oops.
As well as watching people die painfully, popular pastimes included bear baiting, shin kicking and cockfighting, which isn't what it sounds like, even though I checked twice.
My mate Paul told me this joke about this bloke in prison who wore a bib round his backside, and that story went places I wasn't prepared for. Like, not even funny, just disturbing. And when I looked up, Paul was crying. Why did Stone Age people bury all their stuff underground? Were they worried someone might steal it?
No, that's how we find it. It wasn't always underground. It was on the top. The reason we find it as archaeologists is that we go out and we dig it up.
Oh.
Okay, he really didn't answer her question. I mean, just time, erosion, dirt in the air, movement, and the earth. Heavier things sink to the bottom. But it really didn't answer her question, did it? Cunk on Shakespeare, okay.
Deep below Stratford-on-Avon, in a secret location on Henley Street, is a treasure trove of Shakespearean proportions.
Look, she trips everywhere she goes. I love it.
On the front, Stratford upon Avon.
It's a bit wonky, isn't it? Like I suppose they didn't have rulers, did they?
The facts may be hazy, but we
I don't
can
know if
probably
that's one of
guess
the
that
best moments.
Shakespeare as a boy would have looked much like boys today, but bold, and with a ruff instead of an Angry Birds t-shirt.
Romeo from one side spots Juliet from the other. It's love at first sight, but from a distance, just like on Tinder.
My mate Paul sent me this thing on YouTube which proves that spiders aren't actually alive. They just look as if they are, and no one knows what they're made of.
Yes, I mean, I think we do know a lot about spiders, and it's very clear that they are alive, that spiders are alive.
It seems a shame
I would love to meet Paul. If this real person again.
to introduce witches in it and then make all the murders normal with just knives and swords. Maybe if Shakespeare had thought a bit harder, he'd have put some magic murders in, like a big magic hand coming out of a toilet and pulling someone's arse inside out.
No more. And by sleep to say we end the heartache and the 1,000 natural shocks that flesh is heir to. It's the consummation devoutly to be wished, to die, to sleep. To sleep, perchance to dream. Oh, there's the rub.
I've never...
Okay, he's in his own world and she's not in that world. I do have to admit though, I did have to read Shakespeare when I was in a college literature class, and it is tough for Americans. I don't know if it's tough if you're in the UK, but as an American, I think it's even harder to understand because just the way it's written. Come to think of it, I don't think I even got through more than 2 chapters. I bought the Cliff Notes, and they were a thing back in the day. But I couldn't understand it. I couldn't understand the old English. I guess just the words. And if, as a matter of fact, when they were writing the Oxford Dictionary, I believe, a lot of words went back to and originated from Shakespearean writing. I think I'm correct on that. You guys feel free, again, comment down below about this stuff, because this is just the best moments. I'm just trying to do my best to wing it in a historical fashion.
If I had to stand for a whole Shakespeare, I don't think I could do it. I'd be livid if I didn't have a chair.
I think the audiences quite enjoy it. I mean, particularly now.
I don't think they do enjoy standing, do they?
They actually enjoy the experience of standing.
Who's told you that?
I could not do that. I could not stand. Or I don't know. Let me know what you think. But I do enjoy Hamlet. I enjoyed Romeo and Juliet. But those are the big ones. Maybe I could stand through those. But yeah, no.
What's that thing on the wall? It looks like a big stain. It looks like damp.
That whole thing is just whatever she just did. That whole thing is really odd and good.
It's actually a map of Nepal.
But that's a story that'll have to wait for now. Join me next time when I go back in time again. Not in an exciting way like in a film. I'm probably just looking at some old pots or something.
But she did it again. You know, she doesn't disappoint. All right. Well, you guys seem to like these, so I hope I did you justice and reacted appropriately. I don't really watch these before. This one I have not seen before. It threw me a curveball in the beginning. Maybe by the time you see this, I will have some surgery, but I have some other videos I created for you guys that'll I'll put out while I'm recovering. Thanks. Don't forget to comment. Please subscribe if you're not. Give it a thumbs up. That always helps. Share it out. I appreciate it. If you like what I do or what we're doing here, feel free to make some suggestions. I'm always open to them, and I am working on a list of suggestions. So thank you very much. Have a great one.